Hey, hey, ladies.
Hi.
We got the whole crew here today.
Oh, we missed
Happy
you.
Wednesday.
Woo, woo. Let's go. All right. Let me make sure I can get all my windows going. Okay. We got our Instagram going, and let me make sure I can see the chat. Okay. Okay. All right, y'all. So listen, welcome back. Welcome back to the crew, but welcome back to the squad. Okay, y'all is out here. I'm so pumped to have y'all and see y'all beautiful faces. So listen, if you're tuning in for the first time, welcome back. Welcome to Wealthy and Worthy Wednesday. Today we are starting this conversation with a question. All right. Um, and I want you to be thinking about, as we go into this discussion, I want you to be thinking about some of the biggest breakthroughs that you've had in your life. Okay. Maybe it's been a career opportunity, a promotion, a business idea, maybe a friendship, or even just a shift in your confidence or your execution, right? When you think of these like big moments in your life, like these big breakthroughs, I want you to ask yourself, where did this breakthrough happen? Okay. Because the chances are it has happened because you were in the right room, not because somebody gave you some sexy formula, right? The popular formula right now, or because they gave you a cheat code, but because the rooms that you're in, they change what you believe about what's possible. The room challenges your thinking, it expands your vision, it introduces you to people who were living differently, right? And long before you were actually able to achieve that yourself, right? And so that is the core of the conversation today, okay? Because I don't believe that information alone changes lives. I believe that execution and environment change lives. Okay. And so the right room doesn't just teach you something, it actually changes you. So, ladies, we are going to talk about that a little bit today, and see what's coming up, right? What wisdom can we share with the community? All right. So you all have heard, right, that you probably have heard this, that you like become the average of the people you spend most of your time with.
Yes.
Right. So from that perspective, right, we want to talk a little bit about each of your expertise and like why that's so important. Um, so who wants to go first?
What's
I
the
can
question?
go.
The question is, why is environment important? Like from your perspective and the work that you do, like why is it important? Like, and if you don't want to answer it from like your expertise, like answer it from your personal experience. Like
Mm-hmm.
when has an environment like changed you?
Yeah, I can go. Um, with my line of work, I work with high achieving women, and they usually come to me because they notice that something has shifted in their body, whether it be their weight, their A1C has been creeping up, their blood pressure is increasing, their cholesterol is rising, the scale is just not budging. And when we get into the nitty gritty and I ask them, I always start with foundational assessment about nutrition and movement. And I go do a deep dive of their labs. Um, but in particularly when it comes to their habits, I ask them, what changed. And it could be that their environment changes. So, for example, it could be that they are in a new relationship or they're recently married and their habits have they well, when they were single they used to have these habits that they remain consistent with, but now that they're married, recently married, their habits start to conform that of their partners, right? And, before they used to have boundaries around their sleep. They used to make sure that they were monitoring the types of food they used to eat. But, their husband, for example, may not be doing that. And they start to conform to what their partner is doing. And now that their dynamic has changed because they are living with somebody else, there's that aspect. And then also it changes the way like how they prepare meals if they are the meal preparer, right? And so it's just like, okay, I like this, but he doesn't like this. So how do I satisfy both people without taking all of my time in preparing meals, right? And so then we have to then come up with a new plan. Like your life is different now. And we have to think about, okay, we always have to start with you. Okay, how do you want to show up in this household? Because now they're with a partner, like their habits are now intertwined and they start to lose how they used to function before. And so we had the habit conversation and we talk about how do you want to show up? How do you want to feel? Like what type of duration of sleep is good for you. Not like, if your husband is a night owl, you don't have to be a night owl if you're not a night owl, right? You don't have to do that. And so in that aspect, I see that when there's a change in environment, such as a new partner in the house, or they have children and they have to be able to satisfy everyone's palates, they start to compromise their own palate and they start to forget about, okay, like what do I need to be healthy? I can't just be eating chicken nuggets and French fries all day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's just not sustainable for me.
Yes. I love
absolutely. I mean, I'm going to piggyback off Dr. J and say, I mean, it's, and I know these things seem very common sense to us, but when we really break them down and we offer clarity to our listeners, it's important to say environment is extremely important, especially from a psychological perspective. From that perspective, these things, they influence and shape how we think, how we behave, how we cope, how we feel. She's talking about the social aspect, right, of the environment, right, where family, partnership, whomever else is involved and have these elements where they can provide support or they can provide maybe pressure because they have different lifestyles that they were living before we all kind of integrated and decided on one sort of holistic way of being. It influences to a very deep regard, early childhood environment, what we used to have in our lives, the dynamics we built with our parents. So many times I find women and men who come in for help from me are replaying a dynamic in a new environment that they learned from an old environment. So they learned from their parents a certain way of speaking, a certain way of feeling, a certain way of being. When some people, when they're sitting down and not moving, it is construed as being lazy. So they have viewed that any type of rest, any type of taking time to self is selfish and is lazy. And so when they are at work, they are constantly moving. They're constantly playing out the dynamic that they learned in that childhood early development, which is, nope. If there's a task to be done, I'm thinking about it, thinking through it, figuring out a way to move and get that stuff done. And it can be such a burden in some ways to developing well and into caring for yourself as a whole person. So psychologically, if we're talking about environment, Dr. T, it's huge. So we want to be mindful for sure.
Yeah, it's everything,
so
right?
good.
It's everything. Any Talana or
I think you're
Stephanie,
muted.
right? Either of you want to share anything about that?
I'll
Yes.
share. Go ahead. Who was?
Okay.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I think that as women, even in the workplace, right, I see every day where women show up not as themselves because society teaches women, I mean specifically women of color, that you have to go into the workplace and code switch, right? And I think even with code switching, you have to be able to say, this is me. I am going to show up as my full authentic self because the room needs me as I am, not as who I pretend to be. And so that's just one piece of encouragement that I want to share with the women who are watching, who are burned out simply from being in a room that forces them to have to always code switch. Stop it. You don't have to do that. Show up as you because the room needs you.
Let's go. Come on, mic drop.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes. Okay, Talana, what you got? Anything?
I believe we all have been, pretty sure everyone on this live has experienced that. So for me, I believe environment is one of the greatest silent influences on our lives because it pretty much shapes what we believe is possible and eventually like who we become, right? So as an interior designer, I have the privilege of talking about environment almost every day.
Yeah.
And most people think I simply like design beautiful rooms, but what I'm really, really designing is how people feel when they walk in a room, right? So my company's motto is decor and design with you in mind, because we start with the person. Like, what is it that you want to feel when you walk in a space? There's this entire field around this called environmental psychology. And it studies how our surroundings affect our behaviors, our emotions, and even our physical health, right? Okay. And research has shown that the things like natural lighting, clutter, organization, noise, access to nature can influence like stress levels, your mood, your sleep, your focus, and just your overall well-being, right? And so we spend like 90% of our lives like indoors, right? Surrounded by people.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
What I learned is that same principle also applies to people. So the emotions or the emotional rooms we sit in every day matter just as much as the physical ones. Right. And so the conversations I typically hear, the expectations around us and the standards we observe and the people who influence us all begin shaping like our overall identity. An environment doesn't just influence what we do, it influences ultimately who we become. So like it's very important. I am in the field of, and I don't want to use the word convincing, but it almost feels like I'm convincing people that your environment matters, and not just environment with people, but your physical environment, what it looked like, what you feel. That's like when you walk into a well-designed like hotel, you walk in and you immediately feel refreshed or at peace. There's a reason why. And the same thing is with people. You can go into environments where people immediately you're drained. Immediately you feel loved and, and supported or whatnot. It really matters. It's everything. It's everything. We were not on earth to do life alone. You have to do it with others, and who you do that with, it matters. Right. And so,
Yes, I love that. I think that's so beautiful. And one of the things that came up just listening to you all share, just even from your different like vantage points and expertise, was, the environment matters so much, like Talana just mentioned. And for me, going into new spaces alone has actually been one of the most transformational decisions that I've ever made, right? Like going to masterminds alone, going to retreats alone, right? Like I joined like this accountability group with business owners a few years back, and it was not marketed for people that looked like us. So I was a little hesitant to join, right? But it absolutely changed the trajectory of my career and of my life. It changed how I saw myself. The insights that they reflected back to me were like just transformational. And I never would have had that experience had I not been open to putting myself in an environment intentionally where I may have been a little uncomfortable initially, or, maybe feeling like I didn't have as much in common with them. And it turned out to be such a gift. And so I say all of that to say, yes, the environment is everything. And you have to sometimes make courageous decisions for yourself, because you may not always have a bestie that wants to roll, or, you know what I mean? Like, you just may not, timing may be off, like, you know, whatever, like, it just happens. Like, me and Dr. J met at a mastermind in Cancun, right? I went by myself. She was there by herself, right? And we became like business besties, right? So I think it's important that you all see and recognize that that is a thing. And there are so many amazing things on the other side of like just being courageous. So it's always paid me dividends, right? Always paid me dividends. So, okay, so let's shift a little bit, because you all, you know, anytime we talk about a topic, we always want to be very clear about the cost. Either the cost of making a decision or the cost of not making a decision, right? And so as we think about the cost, right, sometimes the hardest part is not even finding the right room. It's actually having the courage to leave the wrong one. Right? And I love this because, Day, you're going to be talking about courage at Wealthy and Worthy Live. We will be in Atlanta, y'all, this August 21st to the 23rd. Go and grab your tickets. They are still on sale, wealthyworthy.org. And we will be talking about all the things, okay? But we have a courage session during that weekend together that Jeannie will be leading. And I'm super excited about it. And so as we think about, right, those hidden costs of staying in environments where we know we're too big, we've outgrown it, we're the smartest, we're the most capable, right? We're the go-to, right? When we stay, what is it costing us? And y'all can each speak from y'all own perspective. Let's actually, because right now there's a big, I think, cloud around Black women specifically and unemployment and these layoffs, right? And I'm tired of people talking about it, because we need to be talking about the solutions, okay? We know, right? We know that it's a problem, but what are we going to do about it, right? Are we going to keep posting about it, right? Like, no, we need to start taking action. So as we think about all of the Black women, I think the numbers right now are somewhere between 600 and 700,000 Black women, right, who have been laid off, lost their jobs. Stephanie, what is that cost of staying in a job, a career that you know good dang on well that layoff was a blessing for you, but you're just still fighting it and being angry and not moving forward? Like, what is
you
the
may
cost?
not know, or you
What
may
are you
not know.
seeing? Yeah, maybe you don't know. What are you seeing as an executive recruiting firm?
I can speak both from the executive recruiter side, but also from the side of being that Black woman who was in a workplace and was laid off, but knew I should have never walked into the room.
Talk about it. Clock it. Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
What happens most of the time, like when we're laid off, it's almost like, wow, thank God, because we knew we were never supposed to be in that room. I honestly don't think I've ever been laid off from a job or even quit a job that I did not know on day one that was not the room for me. And I think we as women have to be honest with ourselves when we're in the interview process and we have that sick feeling in our stomach. We have anxiety in the second round interview. We start questioning and asking our friends, should I take this job? Is this enough? If you're going through all those steps before you even walk through the door, you don't even take the job. And like,
Dang, Stephanie. Dang.
So, like, you have to be honest with yourself. And I think, I actually said this to my brother yesterday. I think work has become a trauma response for so many of us because we go in the rooms because we feel like we have to. We don't have another choice to make money. But it's like, no, if I'm walking into this role as my trauma response, I'm never going to be able to heal because I know I'm not supposed to be there. I'm just forcing myself to be there. So that is definitely what I'm saying. Don't ever walk into a room that you know on day one interviewing that you're not supposed to be there.
Jesus. You stepping on toes today, Stephanie. I just need to say, welcome back, friend.
Okay.
Welcome back. Oh, that's so good. That's so freaking good. That is so freaking good. Okay, so listen. Y'all know, like she said, y'all know the signs, right? Y'all know the signs that questioning yourself. Jeannie, let's pass it to you. What does that cost that Stephanie is describing. It's like you get those signs of don't, but you still do it anyway.
I mean, cost is misalignment, right? What's the cost of misalignment? What's the cost of I have a specific kind of a value, I have a specific understanding of what I need for myself and what I want for myself, and I continue to take less than. What does it cost? It costs self-betrayal. It costs self-abandonment. It costs, as Stephanie probably experienced in a major way, constantly running into all of the things that are misaligned with what I want and how I want to move forward in my life. And then maybe in some ways, at times, running into some things that can fit or could fit, but they are still ultimately lesser than, and they are still ultimately, in some ways, a calling to the bigger room. So you're in these rooms, right? And the room shapes opportunities. The room builds confidence. The room builds independence. The room normalizes growth when it is the correct room for you, right?
Yeah.
But when it is misaligned to those things, right, it influences mindset in a very negative way. It prevents you from opportunities. You literally can watch people within the environment and the systems within the environment pulling you into whatever it is their homogenous environment is. So like if the homogeny mindset is you work till you die, like work yourself into oblivion, make sure that your productivity is as high as humanly possible. Doesn't matter if you're truly connected to the work. It doesn't matter if you are even connected to your colleagues in some ways, or there's true collaboration, whether culture matches or community feels good or not. You're pulled into that homogeny mindset. And people think, oh, it's going to be so simple to break that. I'll just find a new environment. But patterns are formed in homogenous environments where mindset looks that way, where lack of opportunity looks that way, where, whatever you're contending with, whether it's, kind of like shark-like people who are cutthroat, don't really care about your development, are looking to exploit your talents and your creativity. They exist as what we call today, it's not a very nice term, but the energy vampires, right? They know they feel your light. They experience your shine very quickly, and they're like, oh, that's the one. I'm going to get all the answers from her. I'm going to make sure she does all my work. I'm going to make sure I'm always paired with her in teams so that all of that light shines on me and I can capitalize on it. So you're in those environments, you're inside those patterns. The cost is you take on those patterns, and then you have to undo and unlearn those patterns to accelerate in the next environment that is actually meant for you when you do finally get tired or you get laid off, thank heavens. And distance yourself from that space. So the cost is self-abandonment. The cost is conforming to the homogenous environment that is a mindset that you do not believe in and that does not align to your values. The cost is emotional distress, anxiety, irritability, fatigue, burnout, all the things we talk about so often. That is the cost.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you get a paycheck. So you're safe.
Oof. Oof. That's tough. That's tough. That's so tough hearing you even say that, right? Because now it makes me think of this meme that I just saw the other day. It wasn't even a meme. It was just like a static image. And it said, a paycheck is a bribe for you to give up on your dreams.
Ooh.
And so like hearing you say, like, I'm working in a place that doesn't align with my values. Like I'm, it's like you're literally going against your truest heart desires, like you said, for a paycheck. And it's like, not to say you don't deserve a livelihood, right? However, how can we still accomplish that outcome with an environment that is more supportive and more uplifting and more additive, right? And so, that's good. Y'all on fire today, okay? And Dr. J or Talana, you want to add anything to that point? Otherwise, we're gonna move on to the next point.
I can get a little personal with mine. Y'all know I like getting personal.
Okay.
So I've intentionally surrounded myself with people who value growth, healing, emotional health, faith, accountability, fun, all of those things, right? And the conversations that we have become normal in my life, right? So because of the conversations and the encouragement, I began investing in therapy, reading books. Actually, Dr. Tiana is the one that, I don't know if I've ever said this to you, but is the one that I used to be an avid reader, and I used to love reading books all the way from childhood all the way up to adulthood. I've always loved reading. And I didn't realize that had laid dormant until Dr. Tiana would always talk about all these books that she's reading and how we should read these books. And so I would order the books and start reading the books, all because of the environment I was in, with her encouraging this thing that has always been in me. It's just that life has happened and it has, kind of suppressed these things that I once loved. Right. Yeah. And so I know, T, I never told you that.
I love that.
But so surrounding myself by people who believed healing was important. And when you, I don't know if I would have pursued the things that I pursue now had I not been in the environments that I'm in now. So the people around us normalize things, right? So they can normalize, and I think Jeannie just spoke on this, how it can normalize dysfunction or it can normalize healing. It can normalize surviving or it can normalize growing. And so looking back now, I realize those investments weren't just helping the woman I was at the time. It was preparing me for the woman that I eventually need to become, or that I am today. So when I say getting personal, so today I'm caring for my mom, right? Yeah. And she's walking through one of the hard seasons of her life. And I can honestly say that the emotional work and the environments that I put myself in years prior, the work I did, the relationships I built, the encouragement and everything that I've consumed years ago is helping me navigate this season with strength, with patience, with passion, and with resilience. And so I'm not just talking about environments and what they do. I am literally living it out currently. And had I not been in the environments that I was in years ago, as recent as a month ago, I don't know if the season that I'm in now, I would be able to navigate it so well.
Love that. And you're doing a great job, friend. An incredible job.
Wonderful job.
But that's just a real life example that this is not a game. You can play the game if you want to, but life is coming for you. If you don't have the system or the people or the environment set up to help you navigate, you will sink. And you will be yelling and screaming for people to come help you, right? You don't want to be in that position. You want to be set. You want to be settled. You want to be grounded, so that when life do come, it doesn't knock you off kilter. Like you're able to navigate it and navigate it well. Because just because something traumatic happens in your life doesn't mean it has to be traumatic for you and to you.
I know that's right.
You can navigate trauma and still be healthy on the inside, but it takes work to be there. And so,
Love that.
I just want to throw that out there.
Thank you for sharing. No, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for grounding it, right? Like in real time of the reality of life, right? Because like you said, life go life. And so we want to have those conversations with you all. And we're here for those conversations so that you all can see that we are not just sharing this as the experts. We are inviting you into the space as well. And we're saying, hey, take a note out of my playbook. You got this. You can do this. And we're here to cheer you on. So if you want more of that support, right, make sure you're joining us in August for Wealthy and Worthy. We're going to be in person in Atlanta this August 21st through the 23rd. So we're super excited to be in community with y'all. So, okay, now let's round it out a little bit. We coming up on our time. So when we think about, right, this growth, right, Talana, you kind of ended on like you made these intentional investments that you are now seeing pay dividends on the woman who you are now or who you needed to become, right? You basically invested in your future self, right? And so as you all think about that, right, growth sometimes isn't just about the new room, right? It's about being open to allowing that room to transform you, right? To help you think differently, to expand your mind. And that mindset shift, right, is what helps women move from just like attending an event or like just coming to the thing and actually like embracing the change, actually embodying the things that we're teaching, actually practicing the things that we're teaching. And many of you are going to be so pleasantly surprised because we're not just going to be there teaching you. We're going to be practicing in real time the things that we're teaching, right? And so it is an opportunity to show up differently, to think differently, to be challenged, and to operate at a new level. And so as you all think about that, right? Who do I want to start with? Let's go to you, Dr. J. What would you say, right, as you're stepping into this new room and you're having the courage to be transformed by this environment and this experience? How do women move, or what habits do they need to sustain that, right? Instead of like slipping back into their old patterns, or maybe getting the information and then reverting back into those habits as they take the information home, right? Like how do you coach your clients when they come and you help them look at those patterns? You help them recognize they can't eat chicken nuggets and fries or tater tots with their toddler. I'm speaking of myself. How do you help them? I'm in the toddler trenches right now. How do you help them or encourage them, or what do you say to them, right, as you are sending them back into their, their rhythms of life, to help them make sure they can sustain those rhythms?
Yeah. When women come to me, they are so ingrained in their day-to-day habits, and so that becomes their norm. And so they really don't have a they don't come to me with a different framework of thinking, although inherently they do have one. I believe that each of the women that I work with, they are creators in their own right. Right.
Mhm.
And then it is my job to co-create with them what a healthy lifestyle looks like for them, because they see all these things on social media and they're thinking that has to be the way. But like, you have a completely different life, you have completely different health profile, different risk factors, and we have to determine what that looks like for you. And that is where I co-create with them. And so that is where it starts, right? It's okay. What do you want your life to look like? What is realistic for you? And then also that varies in seasons, right? Because it just may be a really busy season and they may not have like an hour to go to the gym, but all they have is like 10 minutes. And so even like formulating that in their mind, look, you don't have to spend an hour in the gym. You don't even have to go to the gym. Okay. Right. You don't, like, you make the world your gym. If this is the space, you have a space. Okay, if you have a space, then you can move your body in, then that is sufficient for you in this season. And we could talk about how that can change as things shift. So it's number one, understanding what does a healthy lifestyle look for them in a specific season that they're in. And then starting with small shifts. So for example, if you're like, hey, Dr. J, I don't have time. Like, my job is, so busy. Actually, I have a patient. Let me bring an example. So I have a patient right now, and okay, this is very, this topic also aligns with the specific patient, because her job, everything else in her life is, pretty good. It's just that her job takes a lot of her time. And with that, it affects the way that she engages with her health. Right. And so because her job takes so much of her time, I told her the only thing that I want you to do is sleep, because because I was like, if you don't get to the protein sources, if you don't get to the movement, if you don't get to the strength training classes, that is fine for me for right now. All I want you to do is sleep. Why did I tell her this? Because I know that sleep, number one, is going to help regulate her mood, right? So she has the emotional stamina to deal with what she's going through at work, right?
Yeah.
And that also is going to help with her executive functioning. So it's going to help with her problem solving and creativity so she can think about other ways of navigating through work, or she may just need another job. She may come to the conclusion that she needs job, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm like, what I need you to work on right now is sleep. And so what we are focusing on is working on doing a nightly brain dump where she is able to extract all these things that typically wakes her up at night, right? But she's able to extract it all on paper so that she can have a restful night of sleep, so that she can have the mood regulation and the executive functioning to help her throughout the day so that she can tackle the problems that she needs at work and come with different ideas with doing her job differently, or maybe she may need another route. She may need another job, but I'm not going to tell her what to do, right? I'm giving her tools that she is going to apply so that she can create what this healthy lifestyle looks like for her. Because if she decides that, you know what, this job is impairing my health and I can no longer do this, then she would have made the decision on her own. But I do believe that every woman we are creators, like we are nurturers at birth. We have the ability to nurture ideas, concepts, like we have all that within us. And so it's number one, determining, okay, what do you want your healthy lifestyle to look like? What do you have the capacity for in this season? And starting with just one small step. And that is sufficient enough to help them see the realization that they need to make, those healthy changes and make it be sustainable. And then once they get those small steps, they're like, okay, all right, I see how this works. I'm sleeping now. Okay. Me, Dr. J. I'm like, all right, we ready. Let's go.
I love that. I love that. Anybody else want to talk about? Okay, so this is an interesting one, Jeannie, that I wanted you to speak to, right? Because this comes up a lot. I don't actually believe it's a thing, but I do hear it a lot. This thing of imposter syndrome.
Ooh.
Okay, I hear it a lot. And I say I don't believe in it because I just think anywhere God sends me is holy ground. Like I'm supposed to be there, imposter, nothing, right? Absolutely. But I do hear it come up, right? I hear it come up a lot. And I hear people like self-identify with it, right? Like I have imposter syndrome. I'm like, no, you don't, right? So as you think about this, right? Like how do we help, or how do you help as a therapist, move folks from that imposter syndrome to like genuinely feeling like they belong when they do enter these expansive spaces, these new environments, and sometimes maybe even doing it alone.
Yeah. This is like one of my favorite topics. Is that what?
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, now I know. Because this one grinds my gears.
No, because I just like personally and anecdotally, I have to say, like, I think to myself when I think about imposter syndrome, I'm always like, there was a person who said this to me and it stuck with me. It was so many years ago, but she said, if I've been able to fool the amount of people that I have fooled into thinking that I am credible and legitimate, I gotta be it. Like, even if I don't, you know what I mean? Even if you're because that's imposter syndrome, right? It's this idea that like the environment that I'm in is too big for me. I don't have the credentials. I'm not legitimate. I'm not who I think I am or who I've trained to be. And I think we've talked about this before, and I think it's so incredibly important. And this is what I help people do so well. It's rooting. It's rooting to your shifting. There is a version of you that exists right? So many versions of us exist. And so it's between space and time, right? There's us as children, there's us in our teenage years, us in our growth in young adult years, us transitioning from single to wifehood, transitioning from, partnership to motherhood, all of these things that are incredible versions of us that exist in all ways. And when we don't let those things root, when we're moving so fast, being so much more than the moment requires of us, we're going to exist inside of mindsets, frameworks, feelings, behaviors of old environments and old versions of ourselves. So if you want to feel integrated, you have to root to where you are, right? There was a time when I went from being a student, right, of psychology, a student of mental health and behavioral health, and I love that period. I'm bookish. We all are. That's what we all have in common, right? Entirely bookish. So love it. Love the words on the page and love the learnings of all these new perspectives and all that great stuff. But then it was time to play and be in the game. And being in the game is, oh, whoa, hold up a minute. I'm responsible for patients now. I'm responsible for what happens to some degree in people's lives. I'm responsible for taking all the education I have and the degrees and the certifications that I have and sitting in front of patients and saying, hey, this is what I see is happening for you. Here's the framework to your malfunction. And here are the answers. Dr. J is like, I don't like to tell women what to do. I tell them what to do.
Right.
What to do. You tell them what to do. They're like, what good are you? Like, what use are you, I have to help them frame the identity of the old environment and the pattern that was created in the old environment. I have to ask them these non-judgmental questions about what is holding them back from the adaptation, and talk about the old version in a way that's entirely loving and respectful, because the old version had a purpose. The habits made sense. The patterns made sense. And we grew, right? We changed environments and we grew and we changed, and we're feeling not like ourselves or not like we got it because those old patterns are still there and we're still worried about, what we look like and how people are seeing us. But they came for a reason. They stay for a reason, right? The legitimacy that we feel in growing and changing isn't always immediate. So we got to let it root. And that means what I mean in practice, give yourself time to reflect on the new version that you exist as. So I've gotten new education, yes, in being side by side with the new environment. And what does that feel like? Maybe it does feel scary. Maybe I do feel kind of out of sorts. Maybe I am kind of worried about seeing the wrong thing or being the wrong thing. Let that be real for you, not necessarily what the reality is of the situation, but it's real for you because physiologically, psychologically, that is what you are experiencing. And to validate that is to root it and say, this is real for me now, and I can develop within it, and it's okay. And I can let the responses around me and the consequences around me show up to give me the feedback to know, hey, I am just exactly where I'm supposed to be. And at some point, those things, they do stop feeling scary. They do stop feeling inciting in some way. They do stop feeling like things that are going to get you down and that are going to make you run because you faced them so often. Does everybody remember when they first started driving?
I love that.
Like when you first, I like it until when I was really it took me a long time to get to driving well. And I love driving now. It's like my favorite thing to do. My friends hate when I drive, but I love to drive. When I first started driving, I was super nervous all the time. Always, I'm a driver. It's my responsibility. I got this license and I want to be on out of there. But you don't feel like you've got it. But you got to keep doing it. And when you keep doing it now, it's, I'll drive anybody anywhere. I'll drive any size car, any size truck. Anywhere you want to go, I'll take you.
But it all starts with that mind shift. It all starts with the mind shift that you talk about.
But I let myself be afraid. You got to let yourself be afraid. I think people are very, when it comes to imposter syndrome, they're not saying I don't have it. You do have it because you can prove you have it because you can teach it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's easy to refute, actually. It's, I don't want to contend with the feelings that I experience when I'm in the environment and thinking I'm not good enough. I want to shove them away. I don't want to experience that.
I don't want to deal with it.
That's what courage is. Courage is dealing with it, dealing with the feelings in it, dealing with the thoughts in it, reframing them in some ways, allowing them though to just be first before you start trying to shift and change and all this other stuff. Yeah.
I
So
love
that's
that.
what we're talking about.
Good.
I
really
love,
good.
come on, psychotherapist. I love that. No, that's good. That's good. That's really good. Thank you for anchoring us in that and also giving us that like walkthrough of what rooting actually looks like in practice and how we can be more intentional about that. So that's beautiful. All right, ladies. So we're about to round this out. All right. So as we think about like the women who are watching today, the women who we are inviting to join us in Atlanta this August, right? As we think about all of those things, I want us to leave them with a love letter. like what do we want to say to them, right? So if we have a woman who's maybe on here live, we have some folks on live, but y'all been quiet in the comments today. Usually they're a little rowdy in the comments, but they've been quiet today. But but we do have a lot of women because our audience are busy women. They usually watch it back on the replay, which is totally cool. So as we think about the women who are watching this back or watching it with us now, and she knows that she's outgrown this current season, or she maybe knows that there's more, right? I used to have that feeling a lot of like, there's more, like, this is not it, right? This is good, but this ain't quite it, right? Or maybe there's a woman who knows that she's ready for something else, right? It can come in a variety of ways. But maybe she's afraid to invest in herself or afraid to step into a room where she doesn't know anybody, right? Which is how I actually started this conversation of like, those have been some of the most transformational experiences for me going by myself. And so what would you say to her? What would you want her to remember before she makes that move?
I can go first.
Yeah.
I would say the life that you're hoping for or praying for will almost always require the courage to walk into a room where the current version of you has never been before, right? And if I could leave her with one final thought, it would be this. Don't wait until you feel confident. Walk in with courage, which is what Jeannie just talked about. Yeah. Confidence is often built after you enter the room, not before.
That's good stuff.
And the right room won't won't just change your opportunities, it will change you.
Come on, sis.
So just all of that encompassed in one little sweet little cute little package.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful.
But that confidence is built after you enter the room is so big. It's so big. It's so
that's
big.
Beautiful.
So
I love that. Thank you.
We hope to see you.
Yeah, we hope to see y'all. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. I'll just say, because I love what you said, Dr. Tiana, when you talked about going to events by yourself, because I had to do that too, because I had to understand that my growth is personal. I can't depend on my mom to grow for me, my dad, my brother, my cousin, my man, nobody. It's personal to me. And I think the moment you realize that growth is personal, you're more likely to jump in and just do it scared. And so that's my encouragement. Remember that growth is personal and it's okay to do it scared.
Come on, girl. Come on, Stephanie. You the MVP of today, okay? Because you've been dropping them gems, honey. You've been dropping the gems. Who's up next?
I can go.
Let's do it.
I would say don't be afraid to be the one who shifts your health legacy. I see a lot of women who, come to me because they're scared of getting diabetes because it runs with their family, or scared of having heart disease, or they're seeing rising cholesterol, increased blood pressure, and they see those illnesses in their family, and they're scared that they are going to succumb to it too. And a lot of these women, they are self-starters. They are high-achieving women, and they have the ability to change the trajectories of their life, of their health legacy. And And I think part of it is that they come to me knowing that they are the one to change their health legacy.
You the one, girl. You the one.
Like,
yes.
You are the one. You are the one that where everything after you is going to become different. You're going to set a new legacy after you. And so I would say to that woman, don't be afraid to be the one to shift your health legacy.
I love that. That's beautiful. All right, Jay, you it. That's so good. Y'all, I love this.
Beautiful.
I love this.
I'm loving this.
Y'all dropping some good stuff.
Yeah, like, I don't know, you ladies, you don't miss, man.
Right?
My love letter is always, it's always going to be about encouraging that the courageous decision is the one that you make. And, I find so often with those that I provide care for, that I provide my work who I work with, the issue that they're having is that they're looking to avoid consequences. They're looking, they want next steps. They want all this growth. They want all this change, but they are not willing to contend with the consequences of those shifts. So I'm of the mindset just to remember and to embrace there are going to be consequences to this change. They're going to be uncomfortable. They're going to be difficult at times. They're going to come with feelings that are unsettling for you and that exist on what we'd call people call negative, I don't believe in that. I mean, all are the same: anger, happiness, it's all in there, right? But I would encourage them to embrace all of those feelings, all of those things all at once, and allow them to be a part of what propels you into the new, because it's akin to what is new. That lack of safety you feel, that fear you feel, that discomfort you feel, as Steph said, do it afraid, right? All that stuff that you feel is a part of the next step. It's outside of pattern. It's new. And that's what comes with new. Yes, excitement and joy and all those things, but also straight up fear about what's going to happen, straight up discomfort about, am I going to fit in? Am I going to be what is required of me? Do it anyway. Yeah. Do it courageously. Yeah.
Come on, courage. I love that. I love that.
How about you, Dr. T? What do you think? Can you?
Oh, listen, y'all already know mine. I'm telling you right now, being ready is not a destination. It is a decision.
That's my favorite quote today now.
Okay? We're not waiting to be ready, right? No. We're deciding that we're ready, and that is what is going to change everything.
That's right.
It's going to change everything. So, look, y'all, I'm so glad. Y'all got me just smiling from ear to ear today, because I have my squad here. I have my whole squad here, okay? So y'all can see the value, right, that we're about to bring to y'all this August in Atlanta for Wealthy and Worthy Mastermind, y'all. We are gathering, okay? The folks are gathering, the tickets are selling, and we are just super excited to be in community with y'all. So today's conversation, right, was not about just the event, right? And it wasn't about just generic networking either. It was about inviting you to consider that it is the environments that shape your future. And the right room won't solve all of your problems, right, immediately, but it may introduce you to a person, to a conversation, to an opportunity that will shift your relationships, your perspective, right? All of the things that can come after. And I have experienced, as well as these other ladies, in our own lives, right? More times than we can probably count. And that is why we have created Wealthy and Worthy, right? It's not just another women's event. It is a room intentionally curated for highly ambitious women who can think bigger, want to lead differently, want to build their lives healthier, and who want to create meaningful wealth. But women who remember and recognize that they don't have to do it alone. And if you've been feeling like you're ready for more, or you even have an inkling that there could be more, because there is, we want you to consider that what you're really ready for is a different room. And that room is Wealthy and Worthy. So we are meeting in Atlanta, August 21st through the 23rd, 2026. For 3 days, we will be having conversations around career, wealth, wellness, leadership, relationships, legacy, with an incredible community of women who are committed to their growth. As Stephanie said, it is personal. Okay. The growth is personal, right? So visit wealthyworthy.org to learn more, reserve your spot. And if you're watching us live, drop room in the comments and tell us what is one room that has changed your life. Because we want to know how we can curate this experience even more intentionally for you, and show up for you in a way that matters to you, right? So thank you for spending the afternoon with us, and we will see you all next week, same place, same time, for another Wealthy and Worthy Wednesday. So have the best day, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.